man.
Hey, you know what? Let's get this drum roll going. You guys already know what the deal is. So, hey, let's get that drum roll going, people. There we go. Make sure we get the screen recorder going. Hey, yo! Shout out and welcome to the legend, Detroit News Rod Beard, as we get into the Woodward Pistons segment. Rod, we're talking about a team right now that if they defeat the Atlanta Hawks, who they have a game against today, then they actually have an opportunity to move into the 6th seed. And the last time they had this opportunity, they did lay a little bit of an egg, but what this team has done all season is respond. They have bounced back. They haven't let a loss or two bury them. We saw them start 0-4, and since that stretch, this team is handsomely over 500. Currently, though, the record 22-21. They come off of a big win over the Houston Rockets, who it seemed like the rebuild started similarly, and then the Houston Rockets just took off. They were second in the West, and the Pistons went on the road and, in my opinion, just handled business. They held them to under 100 points. And so, Rod, just want to be able to get Rod's thoughts, because obviously tonight's game against the Hawks is at 7:30, and Trae Young, I believe this is another one of those narrative games. You get to move up in the standings. You got Cade Cunningham versus Trae Young. When you're talking about all-star considerations and such, there's a lot to like about this Detroit Pistons team, even with Jaden Ivey out. Get well soon, brother. Talk to me, Rod Beard. Rod's thoughts.
I think it's more into Cade is an all-star, and now I'm going to start with the all-NBA, and we've talked about it. Cade being an all-star should be a foregone conclusion. The fan voting has ended. He was 7th in fan voting. He's going to get selected as a reserve. I don't even care about fan voting. We know how I feel about votes and blah, 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 blah. He's going to get in as a reserve, and the national people, Shaq said it the other day, you're starting to see more people look at blind resumes and say 24 points a game, 3rd in the league in assists, and averaging about 6 or 7 rebounds. Yes, those are good enough numbers for an all-star, but they're also starting to border on all-NBA, and it's a consistent thing. You're starting to see these 30-point games, double-digit assists, and they're winning. I mean, that's all NBA stuff. If they can stay in this kind of 6 seed range, and if they make the playoffs and not the play in, I think that's going to help his resume as well. But Cade is on some stuff right now. His third quarters are just immaculate.
Rod, listen, man, when we started the pod, one of the things that instantly had real estate as one of the main segments was the Cade zone. And one of the things we kept telling people is everything we saw, this guy is a star, and he's going to wind up becoming a superstar. And it was a little bit delayed. For me, maybe a year or two, and obviously injuries have something to do with that. The makeup of the team around him have something to do with that. But to see Cade stepping into this right now and owning it and seeing it be while the Pistons are winning, you know what? Good for him, because last year he showed that this type of losing was something that he wasn't going to be content with or happy with, but he also wasn't going to run from. He signed the contract to stay here, which does kick in next year at a pretty large amount. But what else did he do in the offseason? We saw Cade go in the offseason and work out. We saw him add on some muscle. We see now that he's been working on certain skill sets that as now the offensive rhythm is starting to set in a little bit over halfway through the season, we see Cade just looking like everything is in the palm of his hands as a lead guard. And that's one of the best, in my opinion, facilitators in all of the NBA. I know that we're kind of in the moment right now, and there's some things that he has to do as it relates to winning, but just how special of a season is Cade Cunningham having right now? Still, there's only 3 players in the league averaging what he's averaging, and that's LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, and Cade Cunningham.
I mean, that's it right there. I don't need to add to that. But here's the other piece of that, is when he signed the big contract, the way Cade's personality is, he doesn't want anybody to feel like he's stealing money or he's not worthy of that contract. So this big year coming right after he signed the contract isn't just coincidence to me. It is, I got the bag, now I'm going to show people that I am worth it. I'm worthy of this deal. And he's doing it. It's so many people, when they sign that second contract, and you get maxed out because you have to, because you're former number 1 pick, blah, blah, blah. But the production trails off a little bit because they feel a little fat and sassy, as Tom Izzo would say. Not Cade. Not Cade. Cade is like, look, I am coming out and I'm showing. No coincidence. Who did they play in Houston? Who is his arch nemesis?
Mm-hmm,
He's
Green.
Coming out, and in these head-to-head matchups, He's going on the road and winning in your building.
Scotty Barnes,
and that's the transcendent part of who Cade is becoming. Is, again, I always harp on this: win the games that people don't think you're supposed to win. If you look at Houston and the way they have been playing on paper, are the Pistons going into Houston and winning that game? No, they did it against the Knicks. Are they going to win at home with Phoenix and with everything else going on? Maybe. You got a shot. But these games that they're winning right now on paper are not ones that you said that they should be.
Yeah, definitely. And this team all season long, it's been about the character and the moxie that they've shown, the resiliency. And we see J.B. Bickerstaff more and more leaning into a lot of the Lions culture and Lion rhetoric. So he gets a lot of credit for where this Pistons team is right now. The players have been crediting him since we've been able to talk to him, since he's been hired here. And the one thing they keep saying, well, a lot of things they keep saying, but it all boils down to just we can understand what our coach is trying to say. That to me is just crazy. It's wild. These are some young players that we know need the proper development, and so it is cool. You know, even with a Jalen Duren, what we saw the previous 3 years, but versus what we're seeing right now, we're seeing Jalen Duren take the steps right now, and a large part of that has to do with the development staff that is around him, as well as the work that he's putting in. He looks stronger, and honestly, I'm starting to see personally the stamina get a little bit better with Jalen Duren, which has kind of plagued him because he's been in and out with injuries throughout his career. But you know what? We got to give the people a swish or break. Swish or break. You ready for this thing, KG?
Oh, you know
KG's
it, man.
in there. He's ready, man.
You know I'm always ready, man.
Hey, you know what? Let's get into the swish or break. KG is going to read off a definitive statement. Hey, you know what? I'll add a little bit of context, and then we go around the cast and the crew, man.
Huh? No, I love the graphic, bro.
I love the graphic. I love these
beautiful
graphics.
graphic.
Let's rock.
Swisher.
All right. And here we go.
Perfectly, man, for this Ben Johnson stuff.
Oh, yeah. Swish or brick or swish or break, whatever your preference. Here we go. The first one being Cade Cunningham is a all-star starter. Swish or brick.
Listen, guys, you see the numbers. We understand how the fan voting goes. We heard Rod Beard talk about it, but we're not talking about is he going to get it. We're saying, should he be? Cade Cunningham is an all-star starter. The stats prove it. What he's doing for the Pistons to be in a position where they can literally climb into a top 6 spot. And if we want to be real, we say postseason today. But in the past, this is just a play-in. This is just a playoff spot. This team has gone and flipped it from historically bad to right now doing something that J.B. Bickerstaff did with the Cavs in the past. So Cade Cunningham has a lot to do with that. The stats say what they are: 25+ per game, points, 9.5 assists per game, and the rebounds 6-7+ per game. He should be the starter. But what say ye, Flannel Sam?
I am going to go bouncing around the rim and in. I think you could argue for, because of the team success, you could argue for like Donovan Mitchell, although his numbers don't match up to Cade's, or even like a Jalen Brunson. But at the end of the day,
beat twice in his home, danced
fair.
in his building.
That's fair. But I think when you talk about Cade Cunningham, he certainly has less to work with than those other two guys, and the numbers he's putting up are objectively better across the board. So I will ultimately go with around the rim and in, but I'm not going to die on the hill for starter. Just be in the game and have a great second half and put yourself in all-NBA conversations.
JB Smooth.
I kind of agree with Flannel. I like that around the rim and in. I still want to call this a swish. I do think he'll get still overlooked as much as I can see is right now, but just being a part of the game, as Flannel said, is more important. Just being acknowledged that you're there. So that's it for me.
Chase GPT.
I'm going to call it a swish. I think he's the best point guard in the Eastern Conference.
Eastern Conference.
Hey, KG.
I think this is in and out. I think it's almost there. I think he is playing to the level to where you can consider him a starter, but just ultimately there are too many other names above him right now, and just where the Pistons are, I don't think they'll give it to him. So
yeah, you know what? Tabitha Gable, she says, swish. Dante151, swish. Sky Dog, brick. Chuckle Cheese off the backboard and in, or is that a miss? You gotta let us know, Chuckle Cheese. Let us know. Greg 2025 says swish. And Weezy D313, people like Garland shouldn't make it, and Weezy D313, Ice Tray should be starting. Well, you know what? We got a narrative game tonight.
Weezy's, you're kind of outing yourself a little bit. Weezy D13 is who I like to call, and respect to this man because he's out. Weezy D13 is an Ivy bro. He's an Ivy bro and a little bit of a Cade skeptic. I'll just say that.
Rob,
If you think Trae
bro.
Young should be a starter over Cade Cunningham, and I get it, Trae Young leads the NBA in assists. I get it, but have you seen those shooting percentages? I'll just say that.
I know
I'll just say
somebody
that.
else that's an Ivy bro too.
Oh well, yes.
Oh man.
Anywho,
Rob,
go on,
Beard,
Rod.
what say ye? Swish or brick?
This is a 12-foot baseline jumper. It should be a swish, but it's one of the hardest doggone shots in basketball. It's a brick, but two
Just
words
barely.
for you. Kirby Joseph. Don't care about All-Star or Pro Bowl sort of stuff, but what is Kirby Joseph? All-Pro.
All-Pro.
That's the bigger picture here.
Man, let's go. I agree with that. That is
Yeah.
bigger picture. That All-NBA consideration, it's going to hit so different. Because think about it. Andre Drummond has made the All-NBA team. And that was
Yeah,
for
come on.
making an 8th seed.
Right.
If the Pistons are higher than that, Cade Cunningham got to be there. What we got next, brother?
We do. I made an alteration to this next one, if you don't mind, because I did like the question, but just wanted to throw a little sauce on it. So
Let's rock.
Marcus Sasser is good enough to hold down the backup point guard role the rest of the season. Swish or brick?
Ooh. Man, you got context
Yeah,
in the thing
yeah.
because I appreciate what he is as a combo guard, but you know what? He has shown some strides as being the backup facilitator for this Detroit Pistons team, as well as being able to play off ball when it's those times to catch and shoot. He's been able to do that. A couple of the wins that they've had, Marcus Sasser has played that role admirably. You want it to work out because then it means that the Pistons already have a little bit more of what they need in-house and they don't have to spend capital to be able to get that. But what say ye, Flannel Sam, Swish or brick? He is the one that's going to hold down that backup facilitator role.
In a perfect world, brick, because I don't think Marcus Sasser is a point guard. I think he's more of a combo guard. But for this team this season, he has carved out a role on this team that I honestly didn't think he'd have in him, and he's playing well enough to be that maybe 8th or 9th man on a team that gets the 6th seed in the playoffs. So I guess in a perfect world, brick, but for this team, a reluctant around the rim and in.
Yeah. Hey, JB Smooth.
Oh, what was the question one more time, KG?
Marcus Sasser is good enough to hold down the backup point role the rest of the year. Swish or brick?
That they don't need to go
It's
get
tough.
nothing else.
I guess give me Swish on this one, because I guess what are your other possibilities that you could have right now? I wish Ivy was healthy enough to, still be
You
in
can go
this
get
lineup.
somebody
trade
in
market.
trade. Yeah.
What'd you say, KG? I'm sorry.
No, I said you can go trade for somebody.
Do we really want to do that right now? Are we going to do that realistically?
Yep. That was
Let's
part
be
of the
honest,
context that I stated too in the beginning. Like, if Sasser is here, then you actually get to hold on to a lot more your capital and just be one of those teams that's just looking to absorb draft picks at the trade deadline.
Yeah, exactly. So I think as finalists said, this scenario, this is a switch for me.
Cavassier,
I'll say swish. I'd rather go get a new starting power forward than a backup point guard.
you've been consistent on that.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
Tobias head, bro.
Wonder who he wants to replace.
I mean, me too. I want
Tweeting at his
Tobias
finest.
going. Let's be real.
He is. All right, y'all. We got to put a little respect on Tobias' name. He has played better. And trust me, I'm critical of him too. But he's played better. But for this one, I will say swish. I think Marcus Sasser has made strides, like you said, in the playmaking department. We already know he's somebody that can come off the bench and be a spark plug, that can give you a few instant points, and that can shoot pretty well. His step back three-pointer is actually kind of nasty, bro. I can't lie to you. But the fact that
pick and roll.
Exactly. But the fact that he's becoming a better passer, he's seeing the floor a little bit better, his drive and kick ability is getting up there as well. I think they can make it do for what he is right now. I don't know if that's your long-term answer at backup point, but that might be a need that you need to focus on in the offseason. Like you said, at the trade deadline, maybe you load up on draft picks, or maybe go get that starter that Chase wants. But either way, that might not be a role that you need to address right this second.
And one of the things we did say that the shooters was going to do, we said those shooters were going to help Jaden Ivey and Marcus Sasser. I think playing with Malik Beasley off that bench helps them a lot.
Absolutely.
Because the defenses,
Absolutely.
they have to play differently. They got to stick. They have to stay with Malik Beasley, which opens up more paint for a shifty ball handler like a Marcus Sasser, who doesn't just have the three-point shot. but that floater is pretty lethal too when it gets going. But
that's
Rod
fair.
Beard, what say you, man?
It's a make, but it's a goaltend, so it's not quite a swish.
I like that, Rod. I like that.
I like that.
Use your cap space and be aggressive at the deadline to go get a veteran point guard because you really have an opportunity. You're going to lose your first-round draft pick this year.
Yeah.
It's going to convey this year.
Yep.
So you can go get some other picks, but you can go find a veteran point guard.
I agree with. Oh man, I agree with that one. And Sasser, I don't think that boots him from any aspect of anything. I like that. I think it really, if you go get another facilitator, I think it helps to fill a little bit more of that void of Cade Cunningham, of the loss of Jaden Ivey for right now, and you help to bring down a little bit of the usage from Cade because you want him to be able to maintain this style of play and this pace of play for the full rest of this season. You're going to need this type of Cade Cunningham that people are saying MVP considerations. If you get a backup facilitator in here, I do believe that helps to bring down his usage a little bit and keep him fresher longer into the season. So we got another one?
Yeah, we do. I like this Jalen Duren one. You mind if I ask the one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The Pistons will finish better than the 6th seed at season's end. Swish or brick?
Better than the 6th seed?
Yes.
I know Cade Cunningham said he wants to be higher than the 6th seed last night.
Why I asked the question.
He said that on TNT, and shout out to Shaq who told him, he's like, I'm going to tell you to your face, you are an all-star. But better than the 6th seed. I've been consistent since that 30-game mark, and we see kind of how these teams are and the dysfunction around them. And tonight, in the game against Indiana Pacers, will tell me a lot more. Mm-hmm. Those are dubs, and that's the team we're getting. Yeah, I can see 5th seed. There's less dysfunction here on this team. The most they have right now is getting over a Jaden Ivey injury, and he still might return this year depending on how it goes with his rehab. So, you know what? What say you, Flannel Sam?
I am going to go brick, and that's okay.
Yeah.
A 6 seed is about where I think if you would have said before the season that the Pistons would have got a 6 seed, we would have all been doing backflips, and I think that's about where they will end up.
We're already doing backflips.
Absolutely. I think they will pass the Hawks, but I see the Pacers. I see that they've been playing better as of late. I see that Pascal Siakam is
8-2 in their last 10. Pistons 7-3 in their last 10.
Yeah.
JB Smooth.
I mean, there's still more games out there, so you still have that possibility that quite potentially you could move into that 5th spot, and potentially you could move. But I gotta agree with finishing that 6th spot.
Yeah, and that's why. Yo, can I be there and do that more? But that you guys remember the press conference?
Brick. I think there's range with a little ahead of us right now because that's just is something we're gonna have to keep an eye on in the draft.
I've told you guys the dysfunction Pistons would pass. So, but
Magic is just pop.
Yeah, no, I think this is get up to the 5th. Like you said, there's a lot of teams after All-Star break. Echelon of the East begin to fall into a groove right now. All-Star break going into the latter half. Even if it's only one more spot.
What up, though?
They getting their stride.
Rick, I'm going to say the 6th seed spot right now? The Knicks. Do you want to? No.
We've been. Look at Flannel's face, please.
That's why they pay you the big bucks.
Up for you. You want to?
What? Shout out to Rod.
Shout out Jeff Rigger.
Oh man.
Cade Adam guard.
I'm just saying, like.
And
he's
Cade
been
checked
doing
that
it for
box.
Rod, is playing the Pistons. Come in and kick our tails in. One of the main reasons why this man, dog, Madison Square.
I really do want to ask this last.
Because we want to be able to kind of.
Duren needs to be.
Jalen Duren has that he can probably. Period. Dunks per. Been top one, and he did just pass uniform.
Things can be true. I Shangoon on Monday. However, to call Jalen Duren like outside the Kings ran. I'm not saying get untouchable makes me going off the
Be smooth.
Man. Healthy Kings rant. JB Bickerstaff can give me switch.
Brother,
What was the question again?
movements you see in JB Bickerstaff outside of a King's ransom.
Where it's like that, you like.
I feel that, KG.
And Sam spoke the word. I mean, I think he should be made, especially in the stocks department, from him. And I hate to question this. He was going through that slump early. Is all on the floor. He's being aggressive. Lately, he absolutely. If we could continue, see maybe JB Bicker. I think this is a swish, man.
It's just sometimes you play a little. Hey, that's an instinct. Crash. What I see with understands the importance and all that. Those are things that have to be taught. Opportunities to have those reps and be taught. This games I'm looking like, man.
Type of tough love that he needed. And no disrespect to Beef Stew. Games and not you with the
Coach, dog.
Yeah, no, he is.
Rod Beard, what say?
Elliot Ness is on top. Well, we can trade him for a Kings. We can trade Jalen Duren.
Hey, Heat, man. Once again, Detroit. Last words for the people.
Or two names I'll give. Was there. The other piece in Isaiah Stewart, he was right about the to Trajan Langdon.
Yes.
I mean, we can talk about check.
Is a word. I think. And as always, Rod Beard. Every single week. Oh, we got Rod on Wednesday. It's about to be dope, man. Thank you. That you are. I'll keep crushing. See, they're sports writers, man. But you know what? Let's say. Thank you, brother.
Oh yeah, definitely. Out there just because.
Yeah.
Our super chat says.
Yeah,
and he those names that you just kind of hear. And you know what? Next,
Cool. Let me tell